So what you're going to see now as they start skiving in, the Great War Display team are all about recreating the sight, sound and action of flying over the Western Front between 1914 and 1980. All these aircraft represent the Royal Flying Corps, the Royal Naval Air Service, the US Army Air Service and the air arm of the Imperial German Army. There's a whole diversity of designs here, biplanes, unique triplanes and monoplanes. Up to 8 different aircraft of 5 different types representing design evolution, right from B2 through to the Yonkers. The display itself is carefully choreographed, although at times it doesn't seem so, to recreate the sight and sound of a typical whirling dogfight as you would have seen it if you'd been sheltering in the trenches of the Western Front nearly 100 years ago. The pilots, they're all drawn from a wide range of backgrounds: test pilots, XRF pilots, airline pilots, engineers, private pilots, all have a passion for recreating World War I aircraft and flying skills. So you now see the opposing forces facing up to each other. The prime role of the Royal Flying Corps was to be the eyes of the Army. An observation aircraft like the B-2 were slow and stable, but they meant they were hard to manoeuvre. They were also largely unarmed. I see now an attack about to commence, so keep your eyes peeled. You see B2 already taken, it looks like a bit of a hit from the Fokker triplane there. Many of these, of course, were largely unarmed, but by 1915 the scout aircraft, such as the Sopwith triplane, were being developed to stop the vital reconnaissance information getting back to enemy headquarters. Yonkers there crossing over each other as they're hard in on the attack. As the war in the trenches developed, strafing and ground attacks played an increasing role. The Germans were among the first to create a specific aircraft for the job. And the Yonkers CL-1 was developed late in 1917 as an armoured flying tank, using Hugo Junker's revolutionary combination of dual aluminum, metal skinning and a monoplane layout. By then, though, materials in Germany were in short supply and only 47 were built by the time of the armistice. Trench strafing itself was particularly dangerous. In addition to ground fire, you were always vulnerable to attack from above, giving the fighters a vital advantage in speed as they dive in. The SE-5A was designed by Holland at the same Royal Aircraft factory as the BE-2 and shows just how fast aircraft development was during this period. It went into service in 1917 and was regarded one of the most definitive fighters of its time. The SE-5 was fast and agile and also much easier to fly than twitchy rotary engine fighters such as the triplanes and the Camel, making it more suitable for the less experienced pilots being rushed to the Western Front at the time. significant aircraft flying here, as I mentioned, is the B-2, one of the very first to deploy across to the Western Front. Designed in 1912 by Geoffrey de Havilland, the BE standing for Blériot Experimental No. 2. The first ever purpose-designed military aeroplane, created with artillery observation in mind, was the most stable aeroplane ever built. Looking over the hill was always absolutely key for both military commanders and the Royal Artillery. It was absolutely essential for them to know where their shells were dropping. And of course, without observers in the air, it was impossible for them to know where to aim the gun. B-2 up there, trailing smoke at the moment, with a triplane still on its tail. This was a replica built at Tywell in 1969 for the film Biggin Hill Sweeps the Skies, featuring Captain W.E. Johns, of course, fictional hero. This Biggin Hill biplane is designed to sound and look just like an original 1914 aircraft. Just as the original, its wings are made from spruce spars and the ribs covered with linen-type fabric. The long ash undercarriage skids ahead of the large diameter main wheels were fitted to allow the aircraft to fly from rough fields. For many people, however, the Fokker triplane is one of the most definitive aircraft of World War I, linked always with Germany's top-scoring ace, Manfred von Richthofen. Designed by Reinhold Platz, the DR1 was a direct attempt to copy the successful Sopwith triplane, which had appeared just a year earlier. Armed with two forward-firing Spandau machine guns, it was highly manoeuvrable and a formidable opponent. The Sopwith had just a single gun and was slower than the Fokker, but was certainly much less agile. Very successful for a short period. One Royal Naval Air Squadron shot down over 80 German aircraft in 3 months. By the time the Fokker had entered service, the Sopwith was being replaced by a new model, the biplane Sopwith Camel. High above the main battle, you can see now the B-2 is still trying to carry out gunnery marking or reconnaissance work. But as the Fokker is closing in, you can see the difference in performance and manoeuvrability. Little wonder that some renamed the B-2 Cruise as Fokker Modern. You're seeing now just how World War I dogfight develops. With relatively low air speed, the main tactic was to keep turning to stay out of the opponent's sight. That worked in the German favour, however, as the prevailing westerly wind would blow the aircraft back towards the German bases, forcing Allied aircraft to break out and dash for home. Triplane was nicknamed the Tri-Pounds because it became operational with the Royal Naval Air Service in early 1917 and was immediately successful. The triplane was nevertheless built in comparatively small numbers, just about 150 in total, and was withdrawn from active service as Sopwith Camels arrived in the latter half of 1917. The prototype triplane first flew on the 28th of May 1916 with Sopwith test pilot Harry Hawker at the controls. Within a few minutes, Hawker startled onlookers by looping the aircraft 3 times in succession, demonstrating its effective, well-harmonized controls. When manoeuvring, however, the triplane presented an unusual appearance. One observer commenting the aircraft looked like a drunken flight of steps when rolling. originally powered by just a 150 horsepower Expander squeezer engine, first flying in November 1916, and only 77 of these were built before the engine was replaced by a geared 200-pound version, creating the SE-5A. Went into squadron service in March 1917 and continued with another upgrade in service right up until the end of the war, with a total of 5,265 being built. It looks like they're knocking off the gunfire now. They're sailing away, exhausted from the aerial combat, and the team will now reposition to give you a flight past of these wonderful, wonderful aircraft. And as they come by, those that have been with us will know it's traditional to give all the pilots a great airborne farewell. So whatever you've got, hats, coats, umbrellas, ice creams, just wave them all, because these guys are doing incredibly well to entertain you, and a real joy to see them here at Airbourne after so many years. Well, in fact, this is their second only appearance.